I've been watching a lot of 2K videos lately, and honestly, every YouTuber gives the same recycled advice. Turn off your shot meter, learn how to tempo shoot, put on shot feedback. Yeah, we've all heard it 100 times. But today, I'm breaking down 10 secret tips that nobody even talks about. Things that will instantly make you a better player in NBA 2K26. And if even one of these tips helps you out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's get into it. Tip number one: almost every player I go up against spams the same dribble moves on repeat. It might work once, maybe twice, but by the third possession, it's way too predictable. So, the first secret: experiment with different dribble techniques. Go into my court, mix up your patterns, try different things, and when you actually get into the game, do different things, and suddenly you will be unguardable. But rather than just give you some fortune cookie advice, let's actually expand on what I just said. I got my dribble moves up on the screen in case you wanted to copy them for what I'm about to show you next. So you're going to go to my court and turn your latency to online. This way you're going to be having online connection. And then when you go into the difficulty, make sure you set it to ranked pro-am. This way you're practicing on the hardest possible difficulty. It may seem pretty obvious, but let's say you got the same dribble move that you like. Rotate it on both sides. You want to do a little crossover to your right, then do a crossover to your left. Rotate between the two. The next thing is to make your opponent think you're doing the exact same move. Let's say you're doing a crossover into a fade. Do the crossover into the fade, get the shot. Next time, do the crossover, but instead of go into the fade, do the Curry slide, go in the opposite direction, and then shoot the shot. As long as you're constantly changing what you're doing, you'll become unpredictable. And when they can't predict you, they can't guard you. The second tip goes hand in hand with actually what we were just talking about, and that is to predict defensive patterns. Like I just said, everyone does the exact same thing. They do their move, they shoot, they do their move, they drive. And honestly, I've found that almost 80% of people like to drive to the hoop and dunk the ball. It's just the most common thing I found from playing a lot of 2K is that everyone loves to drive. So cut off the angles and predict what they're going to do because they do the exact same thing on repeat. Once you know what they're doing, just guard with what they're doing, and honestly, 90% of the time, you'll be successful at defending them, even though defense is super fucked in this game. The third thing is actually something nobody really talks about, and that is skill based matchmaking and using it to your advantage. And what I mean by this is the sweats are always going to be on park or on the anti up courts. So if you want to avoid all the super psycho tryhards, at least do yourself a favor and start trying games like the theater. You got Pro-Am that's based on skill-based matchmaking, so you're going to be playing people of similar skill level. You have the Rec, you have the starting five. So if you want to avoid the psychopaths, unless you're in the top 5% of people, you really are going to want to try these game modes as you'll have such a better experience as opposed to waiting 5 minutes for a park game just to verse two people that's one is a purple and one is a red tier. So yeah, it's just important to remember to actually have fun on the game as opposed to just caring about winning. If you're having fun, it doesn't really matter if you're playing theater, rec, whatever it is, just do what actually is enjoyable. I feel as though most people can agree that offense is totally broken this year. So getting steals is one of the most important ways to give yourself a competitive advantage. So the next tip that we're going to be talking about is defensive angle manipulation. And I know that sounds weird, but the best way to give you an example of what I'm talking about is, let's say you're playing rec and you are guarding the person on the far right corner and the person is dribbling the ball to the left. So what most people do is they try to stick to their defender like glue. But instead of sticking to your defender, give them space. Make it look like they're open. This is one of the most underrated tips, by the way. You make it look like they're open, so then whoever the point guard is, they see, oh, the guy on the far right is open. They go to pass the ball, but you are cutting off the lane because it looks like you're giving a lot of space, but you're not. You're giving just enough space that by the time they throw the ball, you are in the middle of that lane. You run, you press X. It's a little hard to time, but once you get it down, it's one of the most underrated things to abuse in the game by far. So yeah, simply put, stop guarding face to face. Play the angles. I swear, the next tip is actually hilarious because I've yet to hear a single person ever mention how important this is. Communication. 2K is a team game mode, and yet so many people forget how important it is to actually communicate with your teammates. Unless you're playing a 1v1 game, there becomes a point where you need to have a mic. You need to be talking to your teammates. You need to be telling them, "Yo, I'm open. I'm cutting. Yo, got this guy. Yo, I tried to steal the ball. I'm not back. Can you cover my guy? I got your center." Like there just becomes an endless array of things that communicating, it actually just becomes like the most important thing that nobody is doing. Even the simplest things can make the biggest difference. Let's say you're a center, you just have to use your mic for 2 seconds, be like, "Oh, yo, do you want to ISO or do you want screens?" That's it. I already know that I made fun of people for giving the most obvious tips, but this one, it pains my soul to have to say it, but they are right about one thing. Tempo shooting is the most underrated thing. If you're not doing it, look up a video, start learning what it is. Your green window, bro, I'm not even joking. It's like fucking 3 times bigger. I might be wrong. I'm probably wrong about the exactness of it, but I could not shoot for my life on button this year. But tempo shooting, it's so broken. And I know there's so many stubborn motherfuckers that don't want to change. You gotta change. You gotta do it. If you're not hitting like at least 50% of your shots, you gotta do it. You just gotta. You're gonna shoot probably instantly 20% better once you have the hang of it. And I know, I made fun of people for talking about the obvious thing, but it makes too much of a difference that I feel as though, if you haven't done it yet, I have to say you gotta do it because you just gotta do it, bro. It's so much better. Just so much better. The last, and honestly, probably the most underrated tip of them all, is takeover meter manipulation. It's a secret that nobody even thinks about. And what this is the order you chain your plays impacts both your takeover meter and your green window. And when it comes to shooting, I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Repeat mixed shot types. So whether it be an off dribble fade, into a catch and shoot, into a layup or a dunk. If you mix them, your takeover meter is going to be going up far faster than if you took 3 catch and shoot shots as opposed to the fade, the catch and shoot, and the dunk. If any of these tips helped, make sure you let me know down in the comments section. Anyway, though, take care of yourself, and I hope you have a good day. God bless. Peace out.